বিসমিল্লাহ ধনশ্বরী,
বিসমিল্লাহ ধনুশ্বরী,
ওস্তাদের চরণ ধরি,
ওস্তাদের চরণ ধরি,
যে কাম ধরি সে কাম শিক্ষা করি।
যে কাম ধরি সেই কাম শিক্ষা করি।
হে আল্লাহ,
হে আল্লাহ,
তুমি আমাদের কাজকর্ম সারাদিনের হেফাজত রাখো।
তুমি আমাদের কাজকর্ম সারাদিনের সেবা যত্ন রাখিও।
Hi everyone. The love of Dhaka Jamdani has brought us all here together, and we are going to talk about the challenges that uh, the challenges of keeping this beautiful sensual textile alive. The exhibition, A Glorious Past and a Shining Future of Dhakai Jamdani from the collection of Siddharth Tagore, that's currently showing at the India International Center, has been curated by Puneet Kaushik and me, and this whole conversation has come about thanks to that. Puneet is an artist. He is an installation. Uh, he's very well known for his steel woven installations. He's been working with indigenous crafts and weaves. He's a textile enthusiast, a collector, craft and jewelry design all rolled into one. And he's curated this show along with me. I'm Rama Kumar. I'm a textile designer and I've been working with weavers and artisans all across India, and textiles has been my passion. We have here with us Dina Hussain, and she's the director of the series of short films on Jamdani, which was produced by the Bengal Foundation Dhaka for the Jamdani Festival back in 2019. And we are extremely thankful to the Bengal Foundation for allowing us to screen that during the exhibition that's happening at the India International Center. And we were particularly touched by the sensitivity with which a weaver's story on Muhammad Jamal Hussain Jamal Bhai is here with us. We were particularly touched by the way it was woven around his life and his angst about the future of the textile that he loves so much. And we are fortunate to have Jamal Bhai today, and we would be talking to him about the motives that he has chosen. Like, we have had a virtual connect, and he has chosen a few motives from the exhibition that he would want to elaborate on. And we are fortunate to have Mr. Istanbul Haq from the National Craft Council of Bangladesh. Thank you so much for joining us. And he has been closely associated with Ms. Ruby Ghaznavi ji, whose brainchild, the Jamdani Festival, was, and it was such a huge success. So we would love to hear from you about the whole preparation that went into it, the research, and everything that we would want to know about the whole festival that we've heard so much about. And Deena Hussain is an award-winning filmmaker with over 20 years of experience. It's lovely to have you with us. We are eager to listen to all that went into the making of the films for the festival. She has been making documentaries for independent markets and television broadcasters. Most recently, she's worked with international and national NGOs in Bangladesh, where she's currently based, making advocacy videos focused on issues of gender, the environment, and the human rights. She has also co-produced films for different television networks, which has taken her around the world and across different countries. So let's head on with our conversation. Thank you so much. So Puneet,
okay. So hi Deena, I'm going to ask you the first question to start with, and my very basic question would be: was there actually a script, or was there a storyline that you started working with, or was this very impromptu that you went and you started shooting? Because of course you knew you wanted to shoot, but did you? Because for a documentary, for a film where you want to, bring something that kind of stays as for prosperity, for as a history piece for people to go back to, like we are using your pieces for our exhibition today, and thank you for that. So, or did you just go by the flow?
No, there wasn't a script per se, but there was a lot of research and thinking that went into it. I had started actually Bengal Foundation, had commissioned these pieces, and there were certain things they knew they wanted to do. So for three of them, they knew they wanted to show these films as part of the festival. So we decided together what would be interesting for an audience. So not many people knew about the designs, about the different types of saris and things. But the film I think you're asking about more is about Jamal Bhai's life. And that also was definitely, all documentaries require a lot of production, as you know, and planning. So it took time I met many different weavers, but Jamal Bhai immediately, his story, his persona jumped out to me as someone whose life would make it would be very interesting for audiences to hear from him. So then I spent a bit of time just seeing I would go there and do a little bit of sort of research, as it were. And that was normally when we were doing some of the filming for the other short documentaries. And then we sat down for a long interview, and we spent about 2-3 days following him around and getting the rest of the footage. So yes, it was impromptu in the sense that the day we got there, we weren't quite sure what was happening, though there were some things like the creation of the loom. I think that was for one of the videos we asked him to do, but the interview was the main thing that guided us in deciding. But there wasn't a set script like he will say this, this, and this. No.
So there's the next thing that I was wondering, because we go to a lot of different villages in India, and we go to these remote spaces, and so was it easy for you to start talking to a weaver, because there is a sense of intrusion into their personal space, their home, and for us it's been an experience where we've experienced some of them are very shy, and humble, they don't want to be and they're happy doing what they need to do. They'll sit in the morning at whatever time and then finish at this time, and the next thing is this to do. Was it easy for you to put yourself in there, and were they comfortable with it? Because sometimes it's also the traders, who are very forthcoming and are the ones who become the voice of these weavers, and that's what one tries to discard or move them away from. So was that issue? Was it kind of difficult for you?
Actually, I was very lucky as a filmmaker because the access had already the years of work it takes to get to know a documentary subject. As you're saying, when you sometimes show up to a community, they want to know who you are and why, and that developing that relationship takes a long time. But I was very lucky that Bengal Foundation had been working with all the weavers, and in fact, it was Rintu Bhai. I went with him, and he was the one who introduced me to many weavers, and he has known Jamal Bhai and all the other weavers that I interviewed for a long time. So my work was made much, much easier. And then, of course, as I said, I spoke to many different weavers, explained why we were making the film, and everyone was actually very forthcoming. I think the 4 or 5 weavers that I spoke to, especially Jamal Bhai, they were so they understood so well why it was important to tell their story, that to keep Jamdani alive, to have the people who buy their saris understand why, what it takes to go into making that one simple sari, not simple sari in this case, very difficult sari. It takes 6-7 months sometimes, which is what I learned, which was, I knew sort of, but to see the intricacy of the work, he was very eager that the buyers understand exactly what it goes through. So then they don't, go, oh, this is too expensive. They really understand the hard work it takes. So Jamal Bhai and all the other weavers, they both weave, and they both, as you can see from the film, they're master weavers themselves, but they also have other weavers they work with. And it was very important for them to show their experience and the difficulties faced by them, so people would value this product more.
Thank you.
So before you went about filming the different, the pre-weaving and the weaving process and the Jamdani designs, the different films that went into the process behind the weave, before you filmed it, have you experienced this kind of experienced it from close quarters, the weaving and everything around it?
Well, my background is a little interesting. My mother has actually done a lot of work with the weavers, as well as Ruby Ghaznavi, who I know. So I had heard a lot of information about it. I had visited a weaving village many years ago, well before I had ever thought of making films about it. So I had a little bit of experience, but really I have heard around the dining table many stories about the weavers, many stories about Jamdani weaving, going back to, the Mughal times and how, this was used by the Mughals and things like that. So I had some sense of it, but I did have to do a lot of research. I talked to my mother, Hamida Hussain. I talked to Ruby Ghaznavi. I talked to Rintu Bhai, was very informative and helped me a lot with the designs and other things. He explained the step-by-step process. And then I was able to ask Jamal Bhai, and then we were able to realize, okay, we have to film this, we have to film this, we have to film this. So yeah, it took a lot of research to understand. I had no idea about all the different steps, from the beginning of how they create the thread, to the dyeing, to then the stretching, the loom making. That was all new to me, and really Rintu Bhai and Jamal Bhai were my teachers for that.
It's actually a lot of, it's an eye-opener in the sense it's quite humbling to spend your time among the weavers, because then you realize how much effort goes into that one piece of fabric which we just see at exhibitions or buy off a counter or the store. Like when you see the whole thing being woven, I feel that whenever I am with my weavers, it's like meditation for me. I am transported into a different world. Then the city, the noise, all that. It's so alien. This is such a totally different world. I'm sure you must have felt that too.
It was fascinating to watch them. I have to say, because I had a camera person, I could just spend my time observing. And it is like meditation. They have the buli, the song that they sing, and then the way they communicate, and the way one weaver knows exactly when the shuttle is going through. I found it. I enjoyed my days there. And just a sort of a slight anecdote, because the village was quite far away and there were no restaurants nearby. Jamal Bhai's mother was so sweet, and she would provide us, myself and the crew, lunch. And that was one of the highlights of our shoot, is getting to know Jamal Bhai's wonderful family, and they really welcomed us in, and they were so hospitable. It's a memorable filming experience that I won't forget. They were just so hospitable and welcoming.
I can totally relate to that because I have experienced that myself, and it's the rawness of the feeling is amazing. It touches your heart every time. Coming to you, Mr. Huck. So, can you tell us more about the Jamdani festival? I don't know how long we'll have to wait for one to come to India, but we have heard so much about it, read so much about it. So, if you could just tell us what went behind the conception and the execution of the whole festival?
Uh, First, I would like to sum up how the whole festival in at a glance, so you can get an idea from this. The Actually, this festival's work started at 2017 July till August 2019, and the exhibition is started on September. So the whole in these 2 years, it's the process time of the exhibition. And the main two organizations were Bengal Foundation and the National Craft Council of Bangladesh. And the associate organizations were Arong, Kumudini, Oranno, and Tangail Shari Kutis. And there are 17 organizing weavers there. We call them organizer weavers. And then there are some Ustad, Ustad weavers. There are 45 weavers, and their helpers were 56. And to weave a motif, it took any sort of motif. They have to make it. It took at least 8 days to sort it out how to weave it. And throughout these 2 years, we have produced almost 480 yards. In all the saris and yardage, it's just a calculation. It's around 80 yards with 6 yards yardage and 80 pieces. And it's almost 350 motifs we have produced and developed there. And the replica Jamdani took 3 to 6 months to weave each piece. And we have almost 12 antique pieces in the festival. And this is the whole sum up in just at a glance. And it's a brainstorm of Ruby Ghaznavi and to create this festival. And we, Dina and the Bengal Foundation and all the members of the Craft Council, they took all effort to make it successful here. And also the weavers, their effort for this beautiful collection we have in our exhibition.
Importance. How much faith we have put into Jamdani. We started working a couple of years ago, and everybody said, okay, you'll get the old people to make it, but the young have moved away. Every single Jamdani that you will see is by a young person.
So, Mr. Huck, you had mentioned that you had traveled to Delhi and Kolkata to source old samples.
Well,
yeah.
At first, Ruby Ghaznavi went to the collector's personnel in Delhi and in Kolkata. Then, in secondary, I went to Delhi to Kashmir Loom, Mr. Asaf, and in Kolkata, I went to Weaver Studio. Then Ruby Pal Chaudhary. I received their personal collections, and from Ruby Ghaznavi had a friend in Japan. Her name is Hiroko. Her personal collection, and a designer from Italy, Paula Federic. Her a kaftan, a dress material. Those were the thing we collect. Those I collected from there in Delhi and Kolkata, and Ruby Ghaznavi collected personally from there.
So, did they have any anecdotes or any memories attached to any of the saris that were given to you for revival?
One sari from Amrita Mukherjee in Kolkata. It's her old family traditional sari. When she came to the festival, she brought it with her. And it was wonderful, and we displayed it in the exhibition. And Mr. Asaf's saris were his personal collection. 100, 200 years old saris.
So
really amazing to see that.
So the revival of the motifs that happened. So did you make a copy of the original, or did you make variations in the revived piece?
Actually, the antique pieces which we brought from the collectors and some designs from V&A museum, we tried to keep the actual design, the actual motif. The antique piece. It was a replica. So the motifs, and we tried to keep as much as close to the main design.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about the designs. I went with the Rentu Bhai a couple of times, on my just research trips. And what was so interesting is some of these designs hadn't been made, right, for generations that they had forgotten. So the skill, they had to practice so many times to get it right. I found that fascinating. So it was a cross section between technology, science, and old art. So they would trace Bengal Foundation and Ruby Ghaznavi. They all worked. They would. I'm sure Rentu Bhai could explain more, and Jamal Bhai could then explain what happened. But what I saw was that these designs were printed on architectural graph paper. They would design to the little, graph squares. Then Rentu Bhai would give this to the weaver. The weaver would then see, okay, this is the amount needed to go through the weft and the warp, right? And then they would see, no, they haven't quite got the paisley. The paisley design, if I remember, Rentu Bhai was one of the hardest one. There was one particular design that they had to try many times because they weren't able to get the roundness of it. And so then the round part, right? And so then it would go back to, I think it was Ruby Ghaznavi. She said, no, this is not quite right. She would meet with the weavers, say, no, they were doing these little practice things before they started the whole sari. So then Rentu Bhai would go back and say, no, you have to have 4 threads, maybe not 5 threads. It's fascinating to watch, really.
So I think there's
Rentu Bhai is me. She's always talking about me. She says, yeah, it's true that the Percy, I'm talking about Jamal. He made that 1 or 2 saris, it was not accurate in the design. The round shape of the purse is not okay. So again and again, what Dina Abbas just said was really memorable.
I would like to get back to that question sooner or later, but I wanted to also bring this and ask Jamal Bhai, what is the technical reason that the curve that was there in the older saris and the finesse, that the way the flow of it was, is no more seen in the present saris because they're more cutting edges and they're more like, the lines are more stronger in today as compared to the beautiful flow that the sari would have. So in the motives, that's something that we could definitely ask Jamal Bhai because that's quite a shift, and he's the right person because he works with the medium. So
I tell him in Bangla, then I will translate it. এখন যে কার্ভ গুলা হচ্ছে আগেকার মধ্যে যে কার্ভ গুলার মধ্যে এরকম হতো না, স্কয়ার হতো, এটা কি কারণ?
কাজ গেলে যে এই নিখুঁত, ওই যে এক্সিবিশনের পরে তো নিখুঁত সুতা, নিখুঁত কাজ, এটা আমরা যে সময় কাজ শিখছি এটা জানতাম। আমরা যেটা করছি এটা হচ্ছে যেটা নিয়ে বাজারে চলতো, আর অনেক ফেস্টিভ্যাল হওয়ার কারণে যে নিখুঁত 200-300 বছর আগের শাড়িগুলাই ভালো ভালো দক্ষতা তিরা করছে, এই কাজ আমরা আমার বাপ দাদারও দেখেনি। এটি আপনারা কালেকশন করছেন, কালেকশন করার পরে দেওয়ার পরে জন্য আমরা এটা বুঝছি যে পার্থক্যটা, জামদানি আসলে পার্থক্য আছে। ভালো
রাউন্ড গুলা কেন হতো না? তারপরে সানা, এগুলোর মধ্যে
সানাটা হচ্ছে আগে তো সানা ছিল 1700, 84-80 কাউন্টের সুতা, 200 কাউন্টের 300 কাউন্টের সুতা, 2400-2600 সানা। সুতার মধ্যে অনেক ডিবেট হয়ে গেছে, এজন্য শাড়িটা নিখুঁত হয়, সময় বেশি লাগে, কাজটাও খুব দক্ষ।
What he's saying, during the production of festival, we have used fine reeds and the tana. Tana is Dinapa, what's the term tana?
The weft or the warp?
Well, so right during the production of festival, what they did kept going on experimenting. But the shana is the weft, and reed is এখন কত reed দেওয়া হতো?
এখন 2400-2600
Right now we are using 2400 reeds, but usually in the normal production they used to use
আগে ছিল 1700
1700, 1800 reed they were using. But when the reeds are so fine, and if they go through with that sort of reed, the production and the parts is round shape becomes very obvious.
So if we can ask Jamal Bhai to tell us the first experience of the loom and the Jamdani for him, because he must have seen it for generations, and I'm presuming that he has lived it. So what is his first very experience of being with the loom and with the Jamdani sari? Was it his family he saw wearing, or did he first see it in the loom as of what he remembers?
The first memory.
Yeah.
First in the exhibition, or his first
In his life.
Oh yes. আপনার জীবনে প্রথম যখন জামদানির কাজটা দেখলেন, আপনার এক্সপেরিয়েন্সটা কিরকম লাগে? আপনার এখানে কেউ কাজ করতো এটা সত্যি?
আমি তো মামার কাছ থেকে শিখছি। তো মামা আমার উস্তাদ ছিল, নানারা করতো, মামারা করতো, দাদারা করতো, ভাইয়া করতে শিখেও পরে দেখছি যে শাড়িটা করতে আসলে প্রথম অবস্থায় একটু লাগবে, পরে করার পরে দেখি যে না, এটা তো বাংলাদেশের ঐতিহ্যবাহী জিনিস, জামদানি, বাংলাদেশের পণ্য, এজন্য এটার অনেক একটা ভালো লাগে আর কি। যে এটা জামদানিটা একটা গল্প করার মতন জিনিস, যে ইসাকার আমলে সোনারগাঁও রাজধানী ছিল, মুসলিম জামদানি তৈরি হতো সোনারগাঁও। আমরা তো মুসলিম জামদানির উত্তরসূরি হিসেবে, আমরা মানে জামদানিটার এই ফেস্টিভ্যাল হওয়ার পরে যে নিখুঁত শাড়িগুলো, এই নিখুঁত সুতোগুলো পেয়েছি, এখন ওই যে আগে যে শাড়িগুলো আমি কাজ শিখে করতাম, আমি এগুলো অনেক করি, আমার কাছে ভালো লাগে।
But he said he learned this technique from his, actually his master is his uncle, and his grandfather and his grandfather was in this business. So from very childhood, he was with them in the reading section, and gradually he get interest in doing these things. And historically, and as a Muslim, this Jamdani is our traditional fabric. So he got interested more and more to it. And after that, during this festival, different type of designs and which attracted him the most. And so now he's very interested in this.
So that's another question I wanted to ask. So after the Jamdani festival, what has been the interest on the weave, like from the public or from the visitors? So has the orders been coming in for revived pieces?
Has there been a move or a shift?
Yes, actually, he's quite busy with these antique pieces replica, because he has very good order right now, and actually all the weavers are now in production of these exclusive sarees. Actually, they were not aware of this sort of, they will be able to do this sort of exquisite designs. But once they have done it, they have the confidence right now, and now they are in production, and they are getting very good orders. Even in the local market and in abroad, people are coming after knowing that it can be happening here. So they are getting very good orders.
That's really wonderful to know. And I think that's also one reason why you should take the festival out of Dhaka and bring it to India and other countries. So, you know, there are more weavers who are part of the revival stories. So are there plans of taking the Jamdani festival to the other?
2019, the festival ended. we had a plan. We will take it outside of Bangladesh, maybe in India. Then we had a plan to go to VNA, but VNA is so packed. So for the next 5 years, it's all booked. So we have already talked to them that we wanted to go take our exhibition over there, and due to pandemic, last 2 years, everything is stuck. So right now we are not planning. Very recently, we are planning to go there, but we have planned maybe in Delhi, in Kolkata, and Vienna.
So we are so looking forward to that in Delhi.
So how many Craft Council has how many saris or how many old antique saris and motifs has Craft Council actually been able to revive? Or the real old pieces, how many of them have been given shape, finally back into form?
Actually, each and every organization, that four organization and one is Bengal Foundation and Craft Council. So we have produced 8 to 10 saris for the exhibition, and lots more in the experiment, but we have displayed 7 to 8 pieces in the exhibition, and altogether it's around 50 pieces we have in the exhibition.
So this question is actually open to all, but if Jamal Bhai wants to answer, it's a question because when we did the exhibition, there were many who came and some said and some didn't say that were the motives particular to any specific society. When a sari was woven, was it woven with the idea, or the motive was woven with an idea of knowing whether this goes to this level because there was a caste system, or is it according to the religion, or is it to a sect? Was ever a motive or a sari made with that in mind, or because did the motives really matter? Whether it was going to be worn, because everything has a significance and everything has a meaning why it was done. And then we can go on to motives and we can discuss the motives. But this was something that is important because was it that mostly the cream or the off-whites were worn by a particular kind of this thing? Was another color, a natural color, worn by a specific society? Or what was the thing behind this? Or was there any?
Let me explain it. If by this time, Dinabai, if you can want to tell anything. যে মোটিভগুলো যেটা ব্যবহার করেছে ওইটার মধ্যে কি কোনো রং অথবা কোনো কিছু বিশেষভাবে আপনাদেরকে মানে তাড়িত করে যে এই কারণে আমরা এটা করবো, ওটার মধ্যে কোনো ধার্মিক কোনো বিষয় না, বা কি আপনাদেরকে ওই মোটিভ দিয়ে কাজ করার জন্য উদ্বুদ্ধ করে? কারণ অনেক ধরনের মোটিভ থাকে না, সেই মোটিভগুলোর মধ্যে কোনটা আপনাদেরকে অনুপ্রেরণা পায় সেটা একটু জানতে চাচ্ছি।
জামদানির বিষয়টা হচ্ছে কি, মোটিভ তো জামদানিটা মানে কি যেমন যেটা দিয়ে কাজ করা হয়, যে মেধাটা দিয়ে আমরা কাজ করি, যে কাজ করা হয়, মোটিভটা দেখলে যে কোনো একটা টেসিং হোক, কোনো একটা ছবি হোক, যে জামদানিটা কিন্তু একই সুতার মতন গাঁথা, যে একই গাঁথা, একটু নিখুঁত, একটু ভালো, একটু মন্দ। কারণ ভালো মন্দটা পার্থক্যটা হয় যেমন জামদানিটা সুতার কারণে, কাজটা সুতা ভালো হইলে যেমন এই কালারের মধ্যে এই কালার, এই কাজ কিন্তু জামদানির যতগুলো ডিজাইন হইতেছে, যেমন 100 ডিজাইনের ধরনটা একই, জামদানির কাজের ভিন্ন না, কিছু না।
আপনাকে অনুপ্রাণিত করে কোনটা?
অনুপ্রাণিত করে যে নিখুঁত যে জিনিসটা, ভালো জিনিসটার মধ্যে আমার একটু অনুপ্রাণিত।
ফুল পাতা বা কোনো মানুষের ফিগার, এগুলা কিছু কি কোথাও কখনো কিছু কাজ করে?
না, আমার বিষয়টা হচ্ছে কি, আমি আর পুরোটাই মানে দেন খেল এই জামদানির বিষয়টাই, যে জামদানিটা যত ভালো করবো তত আমার নিজের চেয়ে ভালো লাগে আর কি, অনুপ্রেরণা দেয় যে ভালো কিছু করলে ভালো কিছু।
কি দেখে আপনার কোন জিনিসগুলো আপনি করতে, কোন মোটিভ, কোন ফুলের থেকে বা কোন পাতা থেকে বা কোন কিছু?
এই নিখুঁত জিনিসগুলাই বেশি একটা আমার কাছে দেয়, যে যে জামদানির মধ্যে নিখুঁত, যে এটা একটু অনেক নিখুঁত করে করলে এটা সুন্দরতা আছে।
What he's saying, emphasizing the accuracy of any motif, any design. He's interested to any sort of design. It's not only the floral, it's not only the geometric, maybe it could be a figure. Usually what actually in our Jamdani, we have geometrical motifs here, floral motifs. We don't use figurative motifs here, but in India there are something. They can do the figurative motifs here, they can weave that, but usually in our where we used to use this floral and geometric Persian designs.
It's an interesting question. I hadn't actually thought about that. I didn't know that if that's the case in India. It was. I don't know about it.
Also, was there an influence of the British when they came, the companies and all? How did the shift happen? Because in Balucher and all, you see all of a sudden a cart come into it, from a woman smoking a hookah to a man. All those things in many
story
ways.
over there. Yeah, in
So that
Baluchari.
changes with
Have you ever noticed? Yeah, but have you ever noticed that in Jamdani there are not such a cart or figure? It's only the floral or geometric motifs used, and they are.
So I was keen to know whether there was a specific thing that more, whether people wore a specific color that kind of signified their status in society or class or religion, or was it something that it wasn't ever for a weaver to kind of decide that, or for the buyer, or was the market dictated by something like this? Because sometimes for a puja you wear a white and a red sari, or for something you have very specific things for saris in some portions of the world, or people who wear saris. So was there anything like that attached to Jamdani?
I think it's true because you just mentioned that in puja there's a white and red combination. In summer there are bright colors. In winter we use a dull. And actually these Jamdanis, the colors they use actually from the natural dyes in earlier stage. Now for the marketing purpose, people are using bright colors and it's the chemical dyes are using. But in earlier stage, it was a natural dye. The natural dyes tones are always subtle, down.
So, could you ask Jamal Bhai whether he's happy making the changes in the colors, or what is his favorite color when he weaves? Is it like white, or is it any other color that he's experimented with because of all the innovations that's happening?
আপনার কাছে কোন রংটা বেশি পছন্দ?
আমার কাছে বেশিরভাগ ন্যাচারাল ডাইয়ের সুতাটা অনেক আপনার এই শাড়িটা যত নিখুঁত করা যাবে এই শাড়িটার রংটা নষ্ট হয় না। আর হচ্ছে অফ হোয়াইট, যেটা নিয়ে মেলাতে পারো। এই দুইটা কালারই আমার সবচেয়ে ফেভারিট। ন্যাচারাল ডাই যে কোনো কালার, ন্যাচারাল ডাই
any color, but natural dye he prefers that, and his favorite is off white.
We all love off-whites.
Yeah. Does that also involve zari? How difficult it is for them to use the zari, and is there anything that is there attached to the zari, to a sari, Jamdani sari?
Sorry?
Zari.
The gold color. Zari. Is there anything attached to it, or is it something that is it difficult for them to procure and use it? How does that work for them?
যখন জরি ব্যবহার করেন তখন আপনাদের কাজ করতে গিয়ে মানে কি সুবিধাটা হয় বা কি অসুবিধা সেটা দেখি।
জরির কাজটা করলে কি, যেমন গানের সুতাটা কাজটা করলে গানের সুতাটা একটু ফেস লাগে, আর জরির সুতাটা ফেস লাগে না। জরিটা বাইরে বাইরে করে, জরিটা একটার সাথে আরেকটা জড়ে না। ডিজাইনটা সুন্দর করে জরিটা, ভালো জরি হলে। যেমন ন্যাচারাল ডাইয়ের মধ্যে জরি করন যায়, অফ হোয়াইটের মধ্যে জরি করন, অফ হোয়াইটের মধ্যে অফ হোয়াইট। আর কাজটা হইছে যত চিকন করা যায়, সূক্ষ্ম করা যায়। যেমন একটা জিনিস একটা ডিজাইনই, যেমন দিনাবার পরানো আছে একটা জামদানি মসুল, এই মসুলটা 5 খেয়াও ফাঁকরি চলে যায়, আবার 3 খেয়াও দেওয়া করা যায়। টানার বিমের খেয়াটা যত খাও কম ততই দক্ষ বেশি, সুন্দর হয় বেশি। এটা অনেকই সুন্দর। এই জিনিসটাই আমাদের মাথায় কাজ করে, আর এই জিনিসটা করার কারণে যেমন পার্থক্যটা জামদানির বোঝা যায় যে ভালো আর মন্দ।
You're talking about jari. If the jari is, the quality is fine, it's for them it's easy to weave. That's what he said, and he was referring Dina's sari. He's talking about the motif of its saris.
আর শাড়ির গুলার কাজ করার ক্ষেত্রে জামদানিটা যত বেশি করে একটু যে কোনো মোটিভে করুক, মোটিভটা ভালো করে আপনার মোটিভটা ভালো করে যদি এই যে পকেট ঠোঁটের মতন ইয়ার ঠোঁটের মতন ভালো করে যে কোনো জিনিসই একটু ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ডটা ঘুরান যায়, তাইলে জামদানির মোটিভটা ভালো থাকে। আর একটু ফেভারিট করে মোটা করে ছেড়ে দিলে এটা জামদানির কোনো মোটিভের মতন দেখা যায় না। জামদানি কিন্তু জামদানির মতন আমার কাছে লাগে।
But he's saying if it's done very delicately and very fine, so the motive, the design, what he wants to get out, it will come very good. এটাই তো, মানে খুব সুন্দর করে জিনিসটা বের হয়ে
সুন্দর
আসবে।
করে বলে আমার কাছে পার্থক্যটা বোঝানোর মতন
So you can get the difference if it's done seriously and very neatly according to the design. The output would come out very nice.
100 তাঁতি শাড়ি নিচে আমার শাড়িটা ধুয়ে দিব, 1000 শাড়ির মধ্যে আমার শাড়িটা অনেক লোক চিনালা যে এটা জামাল ভাই।
So he's very
কাজের কারণে
confident. He's very confident about his work because he's very devoted to his work. So the people can easily trace his work
Oh, that's wonderful.
from hundreds of Paris.
So, how does he feel about? You see, Jamdani has moved from there. Now there is something that's happening, some similar to that in Banaras, and how a weave or a technique moves from one place to the other. It could be because maybe of dislocation or relocation, or a whole set of people who've been migrated from one place to the other. How do people in Dhaka, does he feel as a weaver who has seen the original form in its purity, feel about the shift, or what is his reaction to the fact of seeing something that migrates and takes a new form? In a way, it's surviving, but at the same time,
But not in the same
but not in its pure form.
From the origin part.
Yeah.
তো উনি যেটা বলছে যে এখন তো জামদানি বিভিন্ন জায়গায় তৈরি হচ্ছে, কলকাতায় হচ্ছে, আরো অন্যান্য জায়গায় তৈরি। তো আমাদের এই অরিজিনাল ইয়ে থেকে যখন জামদানি বিভিন্ন জায়গায় তৈরি হচ্ছে, ওইটার মধ্যে আপনার রিয়াকশনটা কি? আপনার
জামদানি যেমন বাংলাদেশের মধ্যে নানগঞ্জ, সোনারগাঁ, নানগঞ্জের মধ্যে জামদানির উৎপন্নটা যেটা নিয়ে ঐতিহ্যবাহী জামদানি। তো জামদানির একটা বিষয় আছে, যেমন একটা মোটিভ 60 কাউন্ট 40 কাউন্ট সুতা দা 4টা নাল দেয়, আর আমরা 200 কাউন্ট সুতা দা 2টা নাল দিই, আবার আরেকজনে 6টা 4টা নাল দেয়। নাল দেওয়ার কারণে শাড়িটা একটু মোটা মোটা হয়ে যায়, যেমন শাড়িটা আগে শেষ হয়ে যায়। আর যত নালটা চিকন থাকবে তত শাড়িটা নিখুঁত হবে। নিখুঁত হওয়ার কারণে যেমন জামদানিটা বাংলাদেশের জামদানি লাগে, ইন্ডিয়া হোক আর যে কোনো রাষ্ট্র শাড়ি তৈরি হোক, কিন্তু জামদানি বাংলাদেশের জামদানি লোক মিলতে সোনার কাছে জামদানি, কারণ এটার একটা জামদানি, তো ঐতিহ্যবাহী জামদানির পার্থক্যটা এই জায়গা। কারণ নিখুঁত জিনিসটা তো ওরা বুঝতো না যে কত শোয়ে সানা দিলে, কত শোখাও দিলে, কত এই মোটিভটা কত নাল সুতা দিয়া করলে যে এই মোটিভটা এত সুন্দর হইবে আর দেখবার মতন জিনিস দেওয়া যাবে।
But he's saying the detailness of the weaving, the technique of our weaving techniques, and it differs from yours or somewhere else it's done. So then what he's saying that it is quite difficult to get the same output if the process what they are using, if it's done in somewhere else, they won't get the same output there. Maybe you are calling it Jamdani, but what he's saying, our one is good, the best. It's his confidence, I think.
Yeah, the one thing that really stayed with me when I watched the short film on Jamal Bhai was the pride that he had in his craft, and that is something quite admirable, and we really respect that. Please tell him that.
আপনার কাজের মধ্যে যখন আপনার ভিডিওটা যখন দেখলেন এবং আপনি যে আপনার কাজের মধ্যে যে গর্ব করে যে সম্মানটা নেন, সেইটা ওনাদের খুব ভালো লেগেছে, ওইটাই আপনাকে বলেছে।
তবে ধন্যবাদ জানাই, কারণ আমার এইটা পাওয়ার জন্য আর এই জামদানি পার্থক্যর জন্য বাংলাদেশের কিছু লোক গুণী ব্যক্তি আছে, যেমন রবিগঞ্জ রবি, শিকর দা, রিন্টু ভাই, মনিরান্দার, দিনা আপা, এরকম কিছু লোকের কারণে আজকে আমার যে জামদানির পার্থক্যটা আমি আপনাদের সাথে কথা বলতেছি, যেমন আমার জামদানির উচ্চ শিরে পৌঁছে গেছে, নিজে জীবনে কিছু না করতে কিন্তু ভালো একটা জামদানিতে আমার একটা পরিচিতি হয়েছে।
He's so humble. He's giving all credits to everybody, but actually he's a very good craftsperson, and he's humble also. And he has also thanked you for appreciating his work.
আমার জীবনে আমি যেটা দিছে, আমি কিন্তু কোনো কৃপণতা করি না, কার্পণতা করি না, কারণ আমি এটা করতে হইব যে এইটাই আমি বুঝছি, যে আমার মাথায় ঢুকাইছি যে এটা আমি করবো, এটা আমি সাকসেস হব।
whatever job he was offered, he tried. He took it as a challenge, and he succeeded. That is what his motto always.
So we'll now move to the motives, and we'll just talk about the motives, and then we'll have one or two questions with you, and get back to the thing. Yeah.
So, so the collection that was displayed at the exhibition are all from the private collection of Mr. Siddharth Tagore, and he has been an art collector. He has an art gallery. He publishes a magazine called Art and Deal, and he's been collecting textiles and folk and tribal art over many years. And this is very close to his heart, because being a Bengali himself, Dhakai Jamdani, I think, came naturally to him to have a collection. And we found a few pieces that were very different from the usual ones that you get to see. Especially if we could share some of the motives, we wanted to know what Jamal Bhai thought about them, and if he could elaborate on these. So shall we share them?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So this is a very unusual one that we have in the exhibition. So does he have anything to say about that?
এটা আমি করছি আমি যেমন আমরা আগে পাখি, আর এই যে এই পাইটটা তো অলরেডি রুবি শাড়ি আপার শাড়িতে সবসময় হতো। এটা আমরা বাগের পাড়া, এই ইঞ্চি পাড়ি বলি বাগের পাড়া ফুলটা, আর এটা হচ্ছে একটা পাখি।
Well, this is actually what you said. It's true. It's unusual because this is figurative motif here, and the small round that we call a bagher para. Bagher para is a footprint of a tiger, and in the border of that's the footprint of a tiger is called, in Bangla we call them bagher para, and this is the bird. He has also woven this for his production.
We have another one in the exhibit, which is the butterfly. So is butterfly also? It's not something that we usually see.
Yes, in Jamdani actually we usually don't see the butterfly, but but he has also done this sort of.
প্রজাপতি এই যে পাইটা হইছে আপনার এই যে এই ফুল পাইরে আর কি, কানা ফুলের লতা পাতা দিয়া।
It's a floral, we call fana ফুল,
শাপলা ফুল,
and lotus flower, and this is the butterfly with jari weaving. Yes. And
it is a pona,
and the small border, they call it pona. They have weaved these things. It's the border is very usual here, but butterflies.
Yeah, butterflies.
So he said he's done these. He also said some time back that these were not figurative pieces, were not done in Dhaka. So there was a portion that was doing this. There was somebody who was doing it, because he said it happened more this side of like in India, and they did more floral and all. So if he can actually tell us whether it was still done before it was done, or how does this have its significance?
এটা কি আগে আপনাদের এখানে কি এটা ইংরেজি হওয়ার জন্য কোথা থেকে করছেন
আমরা যেমন অনলাইনে ছবি দিয়ে কিছু লোকে করা আর কি, এইরকম করছে আর কি। যেমন কারো প্রজাপতি ডিজাইন আমি করছি, আমার কাছে ছবি আছে, আমি ছবি
he got the design from a customer or online, and he tried that. But traditionally, actually, he didn't.
প্রজাপতি আঁকা তারপর করানো হয়েছে।
He draw the butterfly and then he
পছন্দের জিনিস একটা করলে ভালো হয় প্রজাপতি।
Out of curiosity and demand of the customers, he has done. But traditionally, Actually, this is not done.
There is this. This is a
এটা
yeah. It's a
এটা 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 করা হতো আগে অনেক
You know?
করছি এটা হচ্ছে আমরা ফুলবাড়ি বলি আর কি
It's also a floral motif. We call them full par. Par is border and full is flower.
এটা অ্যাভেলেবেল অনেক কি করছে
And it's a regular production in our country.
এটা করা হইতো কিন্তু অন্য ভাবে করতাম আর কি এটা এই একটা ফটকা ফুলের মতো তুমি চাইলে ইয়া করে ফটকা একটা ফুল হয় না ফটকা ফুলটার মতো
And it's a motif of a flower and it's a vase also. You can, if you can give a deep look on it, you see three
What
flowers and a vase there, and then the motif is surrounded with a flower motif. And this is the.
So there was a guest who visited the exhibition, saw this piece, and said that this is the hibiscus flower. Is this the hibiscus flower?
Well, I'm not sure. এটা কোনো ফুলের নামটা কি আপনি জানেন?
ফটকা ফুল
Fotka. It's a local.
লোকাল
name.
বলে ফটকা ফুল
We call that fotka. I'm not sure the.
ছোট ছোট গাছ আছে ফটকা ফুলের মধ্যে এরকম ফুটে আর কি
So we'll go to the next one. This is a traditional design.
Yes.
এটা হচ্ছে বাইমাতের সি বলে করাত তেসি আর কি দুইটা করাত হইলে বাইমাতেছি আমরা বলবো
Well, it's a.
বাইমের মতন ওই যে বাইম মাছ আছে না বাইম মাছের মশা মশা বাইমাতেছি বলে
This design is saw type. You see the teeth of the border.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's from the saw. It's similar to that. So in Bangla, it's called kora.
করাত বাইমাতেছি আর কি আমরা বলি বাইমাতেছি
আর এটা?
এটা হচ্ছে করলা পায়
Okay.
হ্যাঁ করলা পায়ের ভিতরে ইয়া আর কি
এগুলো ছিটা।
হ্যাঁ এগুলো হচ্ছে তাবিজ চিটা
এগুলো তো আপনারা করছেন।
হ্যাঁ এগুলো
And these motifs are all done in our country, and it's very popular. This tepchi, I mean, this is saw, and Corolla, এটা কি Dinapa? Bottle gourd.
Bitter gourd, bitter gourd.
Yeah.
Bitter gourd, yeah. Yeah. This is motif from that fruit.
This is a cornea from a mage posh, and this is one of beautiful exhibits in the exhibition. And the detailing within the paisley itself is so beautiful. So, if you could ask Jamal Bhai about his interpretation of paisleys, how complicated his paisleys have been, and the most complicated, how many days must it have taken to just finish the palla?
And the significance of paisley for him.
এটারে বলে কোনিয়া কলকা যেটা বলে আমরা কলকা বলি আর কি তো কলকা তো অনেক পদ্ধতি করা হয়েছে কিন্তু এই কলকাটা আমি পাইছিলাম এর আগে আমার একটা ম্যাডামে দিছিল এটা পরে আবার এই যে দিকে দেখলাম এটা করা ব্যাপার না এটা করতাম
এটা করতে কিরকম সময় লাগে বা এটা করে এটা যে রাউন্ড শেপ বা এগুলো করতে কিরকম
এগুলো বেশি সময় লাগবে
he has done a very complicated procedure also, but it's for him it's very easy, and
It is short.
and he's saying that it's very easy to do this.
So does he get lots of orders for paisleys in comparison to the other motifs?
আপনার কি যে মানে কলকার অর্ডার বেশি পান অন্যান্য অর্ডারগুলোর চাইতে?
অন্য অর্ডার থেকে কলকার ইয়াটা বেশি
Yes, that's true.
এই কোনিয়াটা যেমন ইন্ডিয়া অন্য রাষ্ট্রে সাপোর্টে বেশি যে কোনিয়াটা দেখলে আগে মাথা নষ্ট হয়ে যায় যে কোনিয়া সে
Yes, that's true. It's basically and more he do, he's getting more efficiency doing this.
এটা সবাই পারে
round
না
shape.
এটা সবার মাথা ঢুকে না
Everybody can't do this
Round
this round shape of. It's difficult to do that, but as he's gradually doing it all the time, and he's getting expert.
So there is this particular Dhakai Jamdani in the exhibit, which has the palla. In the palla, you can see distinctly that there are both the weavers have a different interpretation of the motif at the bottom, the base. So has he had experiences of weaving, or his weavers coming up with saris with such differences in the palla because of the difference in the way the hands are of the weavers, the way the weaving is done.
The shuttle moves between two
The shuttle,
weavers.
yeah, the expertise.
তো এই যে এইটা করতে যে এটা ধরেন আঁচলে তারপরে বর্ডারে যে বিভিন্ন ধরনের মোটিভ গুলো আসছে এবং এটা করতে যে যে হাতের যে কাজগুলা করতে হয় সেটার মধ্যে আপনার এটা কি
হাতের কোনো সমস্যা নাই, কিন্তু কাজের মধ্যে যেমন যে কোনো কাজ খেয়াও বারান্তি কমান্তির মধ্যে এই জিনিসগুলো হইয়া যায়। যেমন কোনটা কয় খা বাড়াইলে কদ্দুর আনলে যে কদ্দুর রাস্তাটা করলো যে ক্যাম্পে ক্যাম্পে বাক্কা করলে কদ্দুর তত রূপে দেওয়া
একজন করতেছে আরেকজন যখন
হ্যাঁ না ইয়া ডাইনেটা দেখে দেখে হ্যাঁ করতেছে জিগায় জানে যে কয় খবর কয় খবর আলবো।
Dinapa, can you explain? You know the bully they used to use when so the two person they when in one side one in the right side when he's weaving, so he's reciting something, and the other person he's hearing the thing, and so he's according to his recite he's doing the same motive. So this and that's why the whole thing come to the similar way. I'm not sure if I have explained it clearly.
No, we understood that. It is just that has he also experienced saris coming out of his production setup, wherein in the pallas both the weavers have done variations in the motifs? Has it happened in his experience?
Just purely because of the way your hands move, and there are two people working, but the way your fingers move, the way your hand moves with the shuttle, and you might not be totally sometimes so synchronized that the flow happens the same way. So is there a change in the motive a little bit on the right hand side as compared to the left?
এরকম অনেক সময় কি অমনোযোগী হওয়ার কারণে বা কোনো একটা কারণে ডান দিকের ডিজাইন আর বাম দিকের ডিজাইনের মধ্যে কখনো কোনো পার্থক্য হয়ে যায়?
হ্যাঁ, যেমন অন্যদিকে অন্যমনস্ক
এটা হয় কখনো? আদারওয়াইজ এমনি তো কোনো কারণে এটা হয়
না, কোনো কারণে হয় না, কিন্তু অন্যমনস্ক থাকলে যেমন একটু চিন্তিত আছে, টেনশন আছে, যে যেমন টেনশনে থাকলে
কোনোভাবে কারেকশন করা যায়
আবার খুলতে, কিন্তু বিষয়টা একটু ডিভোর্স হলে খোলে না চলে যায়।
It's a matter of concentration. There's a lack of concentration. So there might be a difference between the right side design and the other side of design.
There is one more. There is this. This is the Morich Fool, right? This
Morich Fool. Yes.
Morich Fool. Morich Fool fullback.
Is it a very popular motive?
Yes, এটা
প্রচলিত সহজ।
He's saying it's easy. And it's very popular here.
যারা শিখে হ্যাঁ করেন।
The early learner they start with this sort of design, then gradually they become expert in weaving.
Thank you so much. I think that was a lot of information that we got from him about the motives. Yeah.
So my question is to both everybody actually. While you were shooting, did you feel, Rana, did you see people of the next generation interested in this? Because how do you see this going forward? And the same question goes to, Jamal Bhai, to ask, is his next generation interested in this? Does he see this happen forward? Are they looking at it as something? Because a lot of weavers, when we meet in the villages, we end up seeing, they saying we don't mind them becoming porters, for example. We don't mind because it's such a strenuous, so much of painstaking and time-consuming process. And there are less and less people who understand and respect this for the amount of effort that goes into it and what they get back financially out of it. So the new generation, not everybody has that patience, not does, so are you looking at how does this work, and have you had experiences, and what do you feel about this? Do you feel the difference?
কিন্তু এই যে কাজগুলো এখন হচ্ছে, আপনি কি চাবেন আপনার পরবর্তী জেনারেশনে এই কাজগুলো করুক, বা আপনি কি মনে করবেন যে ওরা অন্য কোনো একটা যেতে চান, বা এই বিষয়ে আপনার কি মত?
আমার বিষয়টা যে এই কাজগুলো যারা করতেছে হ্যাঁ এই কাজগুলোই করুক, কারণ এই কাজগুলো অন্য যারা আমরা লেখাপড়া জানি না, যারা এই কাজগুলো শিখছে তারা এই কাজগুলো ভালো একটা মুনাফা পাইতেছে। যেমন মিল ফ্যাক্টরির কাজ করলে যে এটা মুনাফা কিছু বেশি পাইতেছে, তাইলে ভালো কাজ করলে ভালো কাজের পয়সা থাকলে বাধ্য থেকে এই কাজটাই ভালো, কোনো কিছুর ভয় থাকে না, বাসায় থেকে কাজ করা যায়।
He's agreeing. His next generation should go for this if they are interested in it, because if they get interested in it, they can earn from it and doing some other things because they have learned it from their family, and it's their family business over there. So there, he's.
But are they presently involved in the process now? As of today, is the next generation interested? Does he see them being interested?
আপনার পরবর্তী জেনারেশন কি এটার মধ্যে কাজ করার জন্য আগ্রহটা আছে আপনি দেখতে? Yes, they're interested actually.
I think also there is a what you said, the next generation. Everyone in the village sees how difficult the work is. They work from very early in the morning to very late in the evening. So if there's an opportunity, the Jamal Bhai in fact informed me of this. He said it is hard recruiting new Jamdani the students, right? Because if they can go, it's much easier for them to go work in a garments factory, right? So he is finding it harder to recruit, and often it's those without opportunity, sometimes the ones who don't have access to getting a factory. They can see that people who work in garment factories is much easier. I mean, it's not much easier, but it's relatively easier than working in the loom pit and things like that. So he had mentioned, and I think I put it in the film, that it is harder to find people and he himself has 2 daughters, 2 lovely girls. And Jamdani till recently, Rentu Bhai will be able to speak to this, has been in the male domain. So for him, he also is sending his girls to school. And so personally, his children are not, but I think he has some nephews maybe who are going to take on the business.
So one thing I have noticed when I work in the field with different clusters is the whole family helps in the pre-bloom process. So is that the same with the Jamal Bhai's setup also?
Yes, that's true. His nephew, his whole family.
Are the women also involved in the pre-bloom process? Yeah.
In dyeing, in fitting the thread and organizing, making the reeds, it's all done by women. And the main weaving in the loom, it's the artists they are working on.
So on the loom, you do not have women who this thing, or are there new generation? There are people who are moving on and women are taking over, because like Diana said, it was a male-dominated thing. So has that shifted? Has there been a move?
It's not shifted, but there are women are working in the loom. There are, but it's not too much. What Dina said, it's very dominant. Yes, it's true.
So there's another aspect that comes in when I work with clusters, is that many of the weavers, they do not want their daughters to get married into a weaving family, or young weavers do not find brides because the women also have to do a lot of these pre-loom process, like the spinning and everything, apart from their daily chores. Is that also a scenario among the Jamdani weavers in Dhaka?
ওদিকে মহিলাদের কাজ করতে কখনো ইয়ে হয়, যেমন আপনার এক পরিবারে আর আরেক জামদানি পরিবারে কাজ করতে যেতে চান না, কারণ অনেক কাজ করতে হয়, অনেক কিছু করতে হয়।
এটা মধ্যে কোনো অনায় প্রকাশ করে না, করে যার যেন ভালো লাগে না করে।
In his case, no. If the women are interested, they can do. They don't have any problem.
যার যেন ভালো লাগে না করতে আছে।
They have the freedom.
So I think that was wonderful meeting all of you virtually and taking this story of Dhakai Jamdani forward. It would be wonderful to meet you all in real life too. And we would like to thank Lua Chaudhary for bringing us all together in this forum. We would have loved to have her too, but we know that she's busy with putting together the retrospective that's going to happen here in Delhi. Thank you so much for being with us, and all power to all of you, and let the Jamdani tales continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon.
এই কাজটার উপরে আমার চিন্তা ভাবনা ধ্যান খেল সব কষ্ট হইলো এটার আমি মেনে নিই যে এইটাই আমার একমাত্র বেঁচে থাকার অবলম্বন এটা ছাড়া আর আমি কোনো কিছু করতেও চাই না আমার জীবনে না আর কি জামদানিটা বাংলাদেশ বাদে অন্য কোথাও হয় না অন্য রাষ্ট্র তো সব কিছুই করা সম্ভব কিন্তু জামদানি তো করা সম্ভব না এটা একটা গর্বের বিষয় না গমতন মানুষে করি দেখে যে জামদানিটা টিকা রয়েছে ওইটাছে আমরাও চিন্তা করি যারা যারা বাংলার পক্ষে তাতে আছে এক জন্য আমার অনেক আবেদন যে আপনারা এটা করতেছেন এটাই করেন আমিও করব আমি এটা ছাড়তাম না আপনারাও ছাড়েন না